on private property though. Hey Patrick. Did you catch my video earlier? I'm just walking now. That officer was parked back there. He's on private property though. I know I can't go back there. Alright, Patrick. My wife Mia will probably jump in here too eventually. She's laying down with the baby, so. Patrick, you probably didn't see it, but in one of my earlier videos, I went into the police station and I questioned two sergeants about the admiralty law in the courts and the gold fringe on their flag. And none of them knew what was. They had no idea what I was talking about. I don't know. I think that corruption, it's in the courts, and it kind of trickled down to the officers. Let me go down to park. There was a citizen that gave him the authority. How can you give somebody authority to do something if you yourself don't have that authority? The judicial system that they're running now for all these local courts, they're all illegal courts. The Constitution says you can only have a common law court and an Admiralty Maritime Court, which is a court-martial military court. What's up? That is true. Corrupt people do ruin good things. And the biggest problem is there's too much money in the politics. Every politician has some big corporation or some foreign government paying their way. That's what it should be. But honestly, I think there should be grants that pay if you're going to run a campaign. That's where the federal should step in. They should give you grants to run your local campaigns. But part of the problem is if you expose the courts and the corruption and how everything really works, along with the contracting laws, it would destroy the money system too. There's a lot of Uber rides down here tonight. I'm actually coming up on something up here. If I'm correct. Yeah. This is the Hells Angels headquarters up here for the city of Troy. Or at least over here. My honest opinion is they keep this neighborhood safer than the actual police do. Yeah, Patrick, they do a hell of a lot better job than the police do. The police leave them alone. If they're handling a situation, they just let it be. This city is kind of run down, kind of poor. It's a lot of, I wouldn't really say bad poverty. There's a lot of homeless people, but it's all minimum wage families. I grew up in South Troy on the other end of the city. A lot of our homeless people over here, they're either addicts because they started at a real young age, or a lot of them are Vietnam veterans. There was a saying back in the day, South Troy against the world. Look it up. I know, Patrick, there's a lot of elderly homeless people here. There's a couple shelters. Quite a few, actually. But they fill up, and in the summertime, they just sleep downtown, usually in the alleyways or something down near the river. That's true. That is true. I believe that Trump, with all his money, he has a couple billion, I believe, right? If he gave everybody $500,000, he would destroy the debt. He would help clean up the streets by far. It would help end poverty, give everybody a chance. But Troy overall, it's a good community. We have our violent spots, but most bigger cities do. Corporations. There's corner stores freaking everywhere. But talk about Trump. If he just gave everybody like $500,000 with all of his billions, I'm sure in interest, he makes bank. You tell me that he can't, even if a couple celebrities, they would most likely donate too. He wouldn't have to do it all by himself, but they could end poverty in the United States. No, he doesn't. He's part of the problem, but all presidents make mistakes too, though. But as a leader with his type of power and his amount of money, he could set his own country straight. You know, he took that oath too. That's why I believe, Patrick, that the courts need to be changed. Once the courts are changed, the police have to change. Because everything they're doing, all this petty crime, which isn't really crime because there's no victim, there's no injury. The state cannot be both the witness and the victim, on top of being the prosecutor and the judge. That's conflict of interest all the way. If you really want to push it, the Bar Association, that's a social club. That's all that is. They have members. That's why you pay your dues. You have to take a test. The Supreme Court ruled in NAACP versus Button and Aaron's versus Sims that anyone can perfect law, but practicing law is almost like a trademark by the bar. So, since the judge and the DA, prosecutor, and your public defender or lawyer, whoever you decide to pick up, they're all members of the same club. Obviously, they're going to plead and you're going to pay some kind of fine. They're going to get some kind of revenue from it, whether it's jail time or a community service deal, or they put a fine on you that they know you can't pay, and then they give you late fees on top of that. Same thing as bail and bond. If you separate yourself away from the corporation, the United States of America Incorporated, the money means nothing to you. That's why there was always the barter system before the corruption came. The point is, Patrick, you don't have to do jail time either. Nothing. If they tried you under common law, unless you physically hurt somebody or did a significant amount of damage to their property, common law says it's dismissed. There's no victim, there's no injury, so therefore there can be no crime. And then I'm walking down 8th Street. Probably like 10 minutes from my house. You don't have to be a victim. You can opt out. When they ask you how you plead, guilty, not guilty, or no contest, there's a fourth option that they just don't tell you. If they tell you, they will lose their bar. That's why when you go in the court and you represent somebody not as a bar member, you have to state that you are there under special appearance. You're separating yourself from that bond. And then that's when you demand that they prove jurisdiction over you. You challenge a judge's jurisdiction, and by his jurisdiction, he has to tell you whether it's common law court or Admiralty Maritime Court. California, this should work there.
I really don't like company like that no more.
No, right? California, that's part of the United States. That still falls on the United States Constitution. The Constitution only allows two types of court. Common law, Admiralty Maritime. Has to go under common law. They don't have a choice. Before anything can proceed, once you challenge a jurisdiction, the judge has to prove that he has power over you, which he doesn't. Really, it has to go to a federal court. If there's no victim, there's no crime. So you go to federal court, they don't have time for that. Nothing petty. As long as you didn't hurt somebody severely or kill somebody, then they don't have time for your case. They'll drop it. Patrick, that's not really a choice. They have to. Patrick, is that a law there? You could challenge that. Once you challenge a judge's jurisdiction, though, Patrick, he has to prove that he has authority over you. And if you want to go a little bit further, you can demand that he proves that he swore an oath to the office, which would be his oath to the Constitution. Therefore, he'll almost be perjuring himself if he doesn't follow under common law. I don't know, it's just stuff to think about. I'm about home though, Patrick. No, I mean, some people say that it's sovereign shit, but it's really not. You're not saying that you're sovereign from the United States of America, you're saying that you're sovereign from the United States of America Incorporated. The shadow government that they put over you. That's why if you look at the original version of the Constitution, not all of it is capital letters. They changed that when they reprinted it. That's because now that is for the corporation. No, you're not a traitor. It's accountability. If we have to be accountable, so do they. Well, you're a traitor to the corporation, but that's not who you're supposed to be loyal to. You're loyal to the